My first name is Deborah, spelled Deborah. Last name Wene, spelled Wene with a little apostrophe at the end of the E. Originally, I was born in the Congo, Africa, and I moved to Oakland, California when I was 13, so that was in 2005. So I lived here for almost 12 years now.
And your ancestors are from Congo as well?
Right. I have 8 siblings, and so I was born there, and all my siblings we moved here. So yeah, we're all from there.
Awesome. Are your parents still there?
My father was the one who moved here first, and he moved here in year 2000, and then 5 years later, in 2005, a couple of my siblings moved, and then me and some of my brothers moved after, and then my mom joined us. So yes.
Oh wow, that's so awesome. And what position are you out of the 8 children?
Oh, I am number 4.
Oh, right in the middle. How do you like that?
Now you don't always get what you wanted, and then there's people that are ahead of you. But it's great, big family. It's fun, crazy. There's never nothing going on. There's always something going on. So we beat each other up, and then we hug each other up, and we're fine.
That's awesome. I'm in the middle too, so I can understand a little bit. Curiosity. This is kind of a funny question, but is big hair like a good, cool tradition and culture in your family? Yeah.
Yes.
The bigger the hair, the more popular.
Hair, the healthier it is. Afro is stuff like that. Yes. The bigger your hair, the healthier it is.
Wow. Interesting.
So it's like bigger really is. It's not like it's not like if you don't have big hair, it doesn't mean you're you're not a good stuff. Like we cut our hair, a lot and stuff like that. But Afro, we keep our Afro clean. This actually is both my hair and extension.
Okay.
And so the weather, every time I'm here, during the winter, if I don't protect my hair, you call protective hairstyle. If I don't braid it and if I don't do something with it, if I just leave it naturally without putting extensions in it, my hair will break a lot. So the extension kind of protects it.
Yeah.
And so it's big. If I take this thing, it's gonna be big. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, big. We don't frown on it. We enjoy our natural hair.
That's awesome. How long is your natural hair?
My natural hair is like shoulder length.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is curly?
It is super curly.
Really?
So when I say shoulder length, that's like if I strengthen it, it'll be shoulder length. But if I don't, it'll be just like afro.
That's awesome.
That's something that I don't always tell people. It's just when people find out, they they sort of treat me different, stuff like that. But I was adopted at age of 2. I was adopted by the king and the queen. It's something in Africa we used to that. It's just something that here when you say king and queen, everybody's like oh. But it's just where I come from. There are so many countries in Africa that are they prefer king or queen instead of president. And so I was adopted into the royalty at age of 2, and it was great. It was obviously I get everything I wanted, and so I didn't really do much growing up, because I have everything done by maid, and I had a big guy following me everywhere as a bodyguard, and as a kid I had a monkey. My monkey was actually my best friend growing up, and but that's basically how life was until at age of 13 when I found out that I was adopted. So at that time, my father was already living here, and so I was able to reconcile with my mom and with my siblings, and then I moved here. So it's been great. The reason why I found out I was adopted is because they were killed. In Africa, in Congo, we have civil war. People fight against each other every time for the kingdom. Tribes fighting against tribes because they all want higher power, and so they actually murdered my parents as we were having dinner. Just them and I, we were having dinner. I was the only child growing up, and so it just out of nowhere, the gunshot came and killed both of them in front of my eyes, and I was taken out of the room, and that was the last time I saw them. I didn't even get to be there for the funeral or to say goodbye, and I was taken out of country, and they took me to a neighborhood country that was called Cameroon because I wasn't safe. So I became a queen. because I was the only child and it was kinship. So it went from like generation to generation. So immediately I became the queen, and in order for the other tribe to get the power, they need to destroy the whole family of that generation. So I was the next target. So it wasn't safe place for me to be. So thankfully my bodyguard, took me out of the room for me and planned, and I was able to make it to Cameroon safe. It was hard for me, just like I didn't even know whether I should cry or whether I should just hide it. I couldn't even eat anything. It was really hard for me, and that was about 2 weeks after during that I received a phone call, and it's like, hi, my name is this and this, and I'm your biological father. And it was really hard for me. It was really hard for me to believe that my father passed away. Unless resurrected, yeah. And what are you talking about? But it was really hard for me. But we got a lot of tests done, DNA and stuff like that. He has some baby pictures to prove and stuff like that. And so knowing that I wasn't safe and that I need to protect myself best, even though I knew they could follow me to the Cameroon if they knew. So my father said, we're gonna help you. We're gonna bring you here and stuff. So he went and talked to the government. This is my daughter and stuff like that. And they want proof. They need, DNA. We can't just move someone here just because you tell us it's your daughter. So they did DNA again, all that, and it was proof that I was his daughter. So they were able to move me here.
Class, in this Pakistan class, a principle I've learned is that our past can influence us, our families, our religion, our economy. So from this story that you've had, how does it influence the way you think and view others?
Well, my past really influenced me a lot. It made me realize in the way of thinking that, life is just so fragile. You could be sitting here and the next thing you know, you won't be here anymore. The things I've gone through, I've learned the importance of trust and the importance of how important it is. But it will take years to build that. But it will take 5 seconds to break it. It's specifically what I meant by that is when I found out that I was adopted, I was so angry at my biological parents. I moved here, yes, I was living with them, but I felt like I was living with strangers. I don't even know who they were, and there I was growing up being the only child, and now being part into this huge family who I didn't even know who the heck they were. And I'm sorry if that's it. But I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be able to deal with this. And the stress was so hard, and it made me bitter. I became bitter in a way that I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna forgive you. There's no way. How could you do this to me? Like, I'm your first. So the thing is, I'm the first one between my mother and my father, my biological parents. So I'm number 4, but I'm number 1 because my biological father has 2 kids before he met my mom, and my biological mom has a daughter before she met my dad. So I was the first one between them, and I guess I was a mistake child because they just started their life together, and there I was, honeymoon baby, if you like to call it. And so they weren't ready to raise a child, and I was sick most of the time, so they gave me into adoption. So it took me a long time to see their point of view, to understand from why they did what they did, because I was just so angry. I lost the people I loved. I never get to say goodbye to my monkey, and all that kind of thing just really made me bitter in a way that I'm like, there's no way I'll forgive. But then I started looking from their perspective, why they did what they did, and I'm like, okay, you did what you did because you couldn't afford to take up me, because you're just a poor newlywed who apparently has a child, and she's sick and she could die if you didn't do anything about it. So you give me, and it must be hard for my mother to let go of her daughter. And so when I started looking at things like that, it helped me to, okay, maybe they did it because they love me, and if they didn't do it, maybe I wouldn't be where I am right now. So our past shaped our future. Our past really shaped where we are now and where we're gonna be. So really, I've learned that my past really changed me. It shaped me, and I wouldn't be where I am right now. I've been through all that, and it strengthened me. The trial that I've been through and stuff like that, I've come to realize that my trial is my trial. Obviously, when people hear my story, they're like, wow, like you are incredible. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, listen to other people's story. Like, people lost everything, stuff like that. Everyone is incredible in their own way. This is mine. God gave that to me, and He knew I could do it. So I handled it. Yes, I became bitter, but when I started understanding, when I started listening to them to understand, and instead of listening to reply, that's when I started like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should be trying to put my feet in their shoes to see why they did what they did. And so, yeah, He really shaped me, and He brought me to the gospel. He brought me to learning new language. He brought me to this country, which is big, and I most of the time I feel lost. I have no idea what I'm doing, but that's because my past, linked to all that. So I'm just grateful for it.
How is knowing 7 languages beneficial?
Well, knowing 7 languages actually benefits me, just like in a way that it gives me confidence in myself. Like, I'm able to to speak, to express myself in more than one way, or like in a way like, it actually benefits me and also helping other people. Like when I won my mission, I was called to like an English speaking mission. So when I got to North Carolina, they have a lot of refugee houses or refugee homes. They are like this building was like all like the French speaking refugees, and so they sent me. I was in that area for 7.5 months just to teaching, using French and stuff like that. So it's beneficial. Language is a gift from God. So He gave us those languages so that we can actually help other people. So it's been, when I'm talking to my mom, like if there's something I don't want someone to know, I can just say another language, so it's been fun.
That's awesome.
I'm a convert, that's for sure. When I moved here after what happened in California, I'm in Africa. I moved here, and my father, my siblings, they were already members of the church. And so when I got here, the missionary, they didn't try to get at me, trying to push me, and not push me, but they just wanted me to get it. And my dad, he really wanted me to, but like I said, the relationship between my parents and I, it wasn't that strong enough for me to believe just because they believe it. I wouldn't obviously. So I was one of those eternal investigators. It took me a long time, but the missionary, they were very patient and stuff. And it just one time, I remember the first time I went to church. I grew up a Baptist. I've always believed in Jesus Christ. But when I got here, and I was raised in a church where when you go, you praise the Lord, Jesus, dancing and stuff like that. And then when I went to the Mormon church, everybody's just quiet and falling asleep, and I'm just that is totally not absolutely different compared to the way I was raised. How are you praising God sleeping? How is that?
Yeah.
But it just I started to learn that the Spirit actually whispers. Shouting is not really going to get you anywhere closer than being very reverent and stuff like that. But it's just I remember telling the missionary to leave me alone, and they'll just pour away. I'm not joining this church. Just give me leave me alone. So they're like, okay, here's your scripture. They give me a book of French, and so I just put the book away. And then just one day, I studied high school, and high school was hard. I didn't speak English, nobody speak French, and I would be by myself most of the time. So one day I got home and I was feeling very depressed, very, very depressed to the point where I started having suicidal thoughts. I was missing my parents a lot, my adopted parents, and I just I can't do this. It was hard, nobody understood me. When I got home from school, I didn't speak to anybody because I didn't know them and stuff. And I was having suicidal thoughts that day, and I just I was in my room and I was thinking about how easy it would be just to end my life. And I knew, I felt if I kept thinking like that, I was gonna do something. And I was just life would be easier on the other side. And it just I was so deep into that thought, and I just felt prompted to turn. I turned around and looked in the closet. There was a Book of Mormon, and I'm the book. But I felt like I needed to go, so I just took a book and I opened it to 3 Nephi 18. And there were the Savior said, behold, I know my sheep and their number. And that was in French. It said, voici, je connais mon bébé. That's son côté. And French. And so I just felt like that was for me. And I remember having to pray for the first time ever. I've never prayed in my life. So I'm just dear God, this book is true, because that's what the missionary told me to do. If this book is true, that means everything we'll be teaching you is true, and that means all that. So I felt something. You know, it wasn't like a shocking. I was expecting God and Jesus Christ and Joseph Smith to show up to me, but none of them did. But you know, it just I was really sweating, but I wasn't high, and I was shaking, but I wasn't cold. It just like those feeling. It was just like a really, really good feeling. And I wish I would receive that kind of like feeling answer to every time I ask something. But it was a great, to me, I took that as an answer to my prayer. And so I called the missionary and used master all the English I could master. I told him that I'm ready. And he finished the lesson, baptized me, and it's been a blessing ever since. And I'm just grateful that it took me a while, but I'm grateful that it took me this long to actually really figure out my answer instead of just going with that's what my father told me to do. So I actually had to find the answer of my own. So yeah.
Do you like living in the U.S.?
I do. I love the United States of America. Living here has been great. You know, I have opportunities here that I would have back home. There are things here that just make sense that wouldn't make sense back home. You know, I have the opportunity to get my education, and like not everyone is the same. Like there's still people that look a bit different because of skin color. There are things that I face living here that I just felt like, are you treating me like that just because my ancestors were exposed to more sun than you? Like, you know, it's sad in a way, but living in America really has given me a lot of experiences. And it just I feel like, however, something is like American, no offense, but I feel like Americans are greedy in a way that take things for granted. They have so much, they feel like they don't have anything. The things that we have here, that we want, the things are all like wants to us, they're a necessity to people in my country. Like, Haley, I am obsessed with clothes. If you walk into, and like the reason why I've been living in Brookside is because it's private bedrooms and I have my own closet. You walk into my room, clothes. And I'm never satisfied. See, I am being Americanized. And so things like that. Like if I was back home, I would just have like 3-4 pieces of clothing, and I'd be satisfied with it. But here I am, and all. So I'm just feel like things like that really shouldn't be reason, but that's how it is. So.
In this Pakistan class, we learned about how the minorities, the one person, can make a difference. So, what do you kind of think about that, and how would you like to see the individuals make the difference in the world?
Well, I feel like it all starts with one. It takes one person. It takes one tree to start a forest. It takes one match to burn the forest down. One person can make a difference in a positive or negative way. Being in America, I felt like, I have hope that someday I will make my parents proud, that someday I will actually make a difference in the world. I'm studying marriage and family, therapy, because I have passion for family, and I want to make a difference in those who don't have voice to share that. And so I believe that with my whole heart, and I felt like most of the time as minorities, and we look down at that. It could be language barrier, it could be because we don't have paper, or it could be because we don't have much education where we came from. But the thing is, if minorities are given the opportunity, like we can do so much, then we are able to expect, because we're afraid of being taken away or being sent back to where we come from and stuff like that. So I do believe that one person can make a difference. It just doesn't have to be with minorities, even the majority, everyone, it takes one person to reach someone else's hand and hey, I'm here for you. It takes one person to make someone smile. So it really have to do one person to build the world together. It starts with you, and it starts with me. It doesn't start with our parents, and it won't start with our children. It starts with us. It calls transitional character. So a transitional character is you looking at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, Debbie or Haley, it starts with me. Today, I'm going to make a difference. It starts with me. I want to be a transitional character. Whatever my parents believe in that I don't want to see anymore, it stopped with me. It won't ever go down again. And I'm going to be a new person, and I'm going to start something different, a new transition, a new something that you believe in. It starts with you. And so it's all have to also do with self-confidence. If you have that confidence in yourself, then you go from there. So yeah, start with one person.
Awesome.